Okay, this is the P1 paper from October 2023. It's question number 4. If I show you all of the question there, we can see this is a graphs and transformations question. We've got y equals 1 over x plus 2, which is a reciprocal. Later on, we're going to be doing the cubic graph of x cubed plus 4x squared plus 4x. But let's make a start because part A is relatively straightforward. Part A says if we've got that graph, then can we state the equation of the asymptote of C and the one that's parallel to the y-axis. So what we mean by that one is the equation of that line there, which is just x equals something, isn't it? And you shouldn't have any problems with this at all. Part A, I'll just explain it, but we don't really need any of this. If y equals 1 over x plus 2, then when's the asymptote happening? The asymptote's happening when that denominator works out to be equal to 0, because you can't do 1 divided by 0. That would give us an undefined value. So that's going to occur at x equals, we said it was x equals minus 2. So no working necessary for that first part. It should just be a knowledge idea. Part B, factorise fully x cubed plus 4x squared plus 4x. Okay, so if we're going to factorise that, y equals x cubed plus 4x squared plus 4x. Let's just factorise it in two parts. First of all, let's just take x out, which is going to leave me a quadratic, x squared plus 4x plus 4. Now I can actually recognise this, but we're looking for two numbers that multiply together to give 4 and add together to give 4. Well, it's the same number then. It's x plus 2, x plus 2 again. Or in other words, we've got the x plus 2 all squared. And that's going to have ramifications when we're doing the graph. We'll have repeated values. We'll talk about that in a second. So part A and part B done. Part C says, a little bit lower down, there's a diagram 1, which I'll have a look at. And it says, can we sketch the curve of y equals x cubed plus 4x squared plus 4x? And says, obviously, state really clearly coordinates of each point where the curve cuts the axis or meets the axis. Let's talk about that then. So this is where we're going to be putting the answer to this one. So if I've got y equals, well, I'm going to call it x plus 2 squared. Now, what do we know about this graph? Well, first of all, we know it's a positive cubic. Just explain it to you guys. If it is a positive x cubed, then we know that tends to have that shape to my graph. We want to know where it hits the axis. So if y equals 0, I'm going to get that x plus 2 squared equals 0, which will give me x equals 0 or x equals minus 2, repeated, minus 2 and minus 2 again. What that means is that when I draw that on my actual graph then, if it's repeated, so x equals minus 2 is that point there, isn't it? We've just talked about that. At that point there, my graph is just going to touch and then come back down again. So that's what the graph's going to look like. Now, if I also add in the fact that it's this shape and also add in the fact that I know it hits here and also hits here, all those things together mean that my graph has to look something like this. It has to hit at minus 2 there, come back down again, and then go back up to hit at 2 and look something like that. So this is minus 2, this is 0 here, and that's giving me everything on it. Now, that's not the neatest of cubic graphs. If you wanted to redraw it out again to the right shape, you can do. I was just sort of showing us what it's going to look like. I don't really like what I've got there, so I am going to just tidy that up with another go at doing that. So we have that it just touches at this point here and comes back down, but then goes up again to be a cubic like that. Not brilliant, but good enough for me to be able to put my label on x plus 2 all squared there. So that's enough information for part C. And then part D says, once you've got that, state the number of solutions of the equation x plus 2 multiplied by x cubed plus 4x squared plus 4x equals 1. Let's work out how many solutions we've got to that. So if we've got part D, it's very quick, but let's just talk about it. We had that the question was, sorry, x plus 2 is equal to x cubed plus 4x squared plus 4x, sorry, equals 1 there. I'm trying to copy it out from something I can't see. That's what the equation looks like. Well, that just jumps down then to x cubed plus 4x squared plus 4x equals 1 over x plus 2, which is the two graphs then. So it's where the two graphs meet. So you didn't need to do all that, I'll just explain it to you guys. And where do these two graphs meet? Well, they meet here and here. So there's only two solutions there. So I can now say, the graphs meet at 2 points. Therefore, there are two solutions. Two solutions. Okay, yeah, so a lot of work involved in that one, but hopefully that all makes sense to you if you just check it through.